Alrighty, welcome back to NTV's Get Life with the Lutheran Church Charities Canine Comfort Dog Ministry began in 2008 right there in Chicago, Illinois.
That's right. And in 2016, though, they added a satellite training center in Grand Island. We're really excited about that. Brian's going to tell us a little bit more because I don't think I said that right. They added a satellite training center in Grand Island.
You said it perfectly right.
Oh, I did?
Yes.
Good work. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, then you take it away.
Yes, I didn't have a little, anyway. So nationwide, there are 120 dogs in the program, like
Yes.
Eddie, our favorite.
Love him.
But they're always looking for more ways to get more dogs and more people to train them. So in order to get more dogs trained, they also need more apprentice trainers. In this edition of All in a Day's Work, we take you to these trainers who help prepare the dogs to get ready to be sent out to Lutheran churches across the country.
Every Thursday evening, apprentice trainers travel locally and from across the state to Grand Island to work with the dogs.
We have pairs, training pairs for each dog. So with 4 dogs, you need basically 8 trainers. And so some of it's family, some of them are singles. They're all different. So 1 week they'll spend with one trainer, and then when we meet on Thursday night, then they go to the other trainer.
This schedule gives the trainers a break, but also helps prepare the dogs for their future life at a church, working with multiple handlers.
You kind of get attached to certain dogs more than others, but they do a really nice job of rotating the dogs with us. So the minute you kind of start getting attached to one, they send them off and you get a different one.
Playtime is the favorite time for the dogs. They get to burn off some energy, but also learn how to get along in the group under the watchful eye of the trainers. Making sure the dogs look great and are accepting of different handlers grooming them is another part of what they do.
A lot of commands, sit, stay, down, come when called, all those basics that any dog can learn in an obedience class, but then they've got the extra stuff.
That extra stuff adds up to about 30 different commands the dogs can do.
The dogs themselves take approximately 14 to 16 months to train, and in addition, if you look at it in hours, it's well over 2,000 hours worth. So again, it's not an easy process to just make a dog a comfort dog.
Adam Brose is from Grand Island. He and his family have enjoyed having the dogs be a part of their family.
Each of these dogs has their own personality, and with their personalities come different challenges. The hyper ones are just kind of a challenge to control, and the ones that are more laid back are sometimes a little bit difficult to motivate.
Marianne Humphrey travels every week from Omaha to help train the dogs.
It's just like a big family here, and everybody is so kind and gracious, and they share knowledge. I love the ministry and what it does for people. The first time I was at a youth event for disadvantaged youth, and I just fell in love with what the dogs did for the kids, and so I wanted to get involved.
The dogs have one more stop after they're done with their training here.
So then they'll go back to Chicago, they'll do their finishing up, and then they'll determine what church they're going to go to where in the country.
Here's a map showing all the states where Lutheran Church Charities currently has dogs stationed. The last batch of dogs from Grand Island ended up in Virginia, Texas, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Missouri.
A lot of times I have people say, hey, if I work with the dog, I'm going to hate to see it go someplace because it could go anywhere in the United States. But my answer is, hey, we got another one coming.
Our love for it just grows and grows. You get involved and you get called out for different deployments, and then you see the impact it makes, and it's incredible, the comfort that they can bring to people.
Brian Gnuse, NTV's Good Life, Grand Island.
They are always looking for more apprentice trainers like we saw here for the Comfort Dog Ministry. So head to the story at nebraska.tv and we'll have the website link that you can click to go to Lutheran Church Charities and express your interest. You can click on either Northern Illinois or Grand Island.
Yeah,
So,
I just think it's awesome that Grand Island has this training center.
Yep.
I love that.
it's quite an honor, honestly.
It is,
But it took
yeah.
a lot of dedicated people to say we're going to do it, like Lucy and her husband that said
Yeah.
they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I've got one more little clip we're going to show you.
Yes.
When you have this on the front of your camera, what does
Like
this
you
look
did.
like?
It looks like a chew toy.
It did exactly look like a chew toy to one of them. And oddly enough, when you buy the fancy version of these, they call it a dead cat covering, which is really horrible. And I have a cat that I love. But
I
anyway,
know.
so
A live one.
we got a quick little clip here to show you. One of the dogs thought it looked like a lot of fun. So
Which
got it.
dog he thought it was?
I didn't catch the name, but so that was in regular
that's
speed, and
so
now we're
darn
going
cute.
slow-mo.
Oh, look at Brian. He
So-
wanted to play, or she
Yes,
wanted
I
to
was right on
play.
his level with the chew toy, and so
That's
and
hysterical.
they're fetching it out of his mouth, and Mo brings it back over, and just a little bit soggy. So we went without it there.
See, that's
but-
okay, puppy dog.
So-
Oh, so adorable.
So how long was that training then? Because they do it once a week, and those ladies come from.
From Omaha, I want to say it's a 2-3 hour training, but then the dogs are training for the 18-month period, 15-month period. So it's a long period of time, and it just varies when the dogs are ready. Then they'll send them off to Chicago to make sure they're ready to go to a church. So
I just
Yeah,
think that's so
and I was fortunate enough to meet, is it Isaac or Isaiah? I think Isaiah I met during the Christmas holidays. I was shopping at Cabela's, and he was there with his handler
fun.
being trained. And I think I already told this story. Did I already tell the story on here? Maybe not, because it was during the, but I just cried. So thank you for I did, because I'm like, that's a,
Yeah, when
they're
you-
all adorable.
When
There's
you
no
see
getting
that,
around
when
it.
you see that blue vest,
yeah.
yep, very
So,
nice. All right,
Good
well,
story.
thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Brian.
it.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're coming back with more Brian right after this.
Oh, they're showing me.
All right, welcome back.
Well, you know, Brian has brought us some amazing stories the past several months, and one of them was about 3 men from Phoenix, Arizona. Do you remember this one?
Oh, like it was yesterday, because it seemed like
Yeah.
it was yesterday, and their dream was to play. It's my dream as well, percussion.
That's right. Yeah, this was a fun story. And so, since it's the middle of, well, winter, not the middle of it, but we want to go back to, this was like during the fair, wasn't it, when you found these guys?
You betcha. Yeah, we just needed to come up with some stories when we were at the state fair.
Yeah.
And these guys were banging around the place. We're like, well, so the words high energy don't really sum up this crew. They call themselves Boom Percussion, and they performed this year at the Nebraska State Fair. Let's check it out.
Just started this as a labor of love. I was a teacher for 13 years, a school teacher. I taught general music and band at the elementary school level, and kind of started this on the side. But then as this started to become more successful, I decided that this is where my heart really lies, in performing and entertaining.
A lot of people aren't expecting that this is something you can do for a living. As long as you're willing to go on the road and be a high energy performer and really commit to what you're doing.
Well, I'm just kind of a loud person, a loud, obnoxious person, and this lets me get that loud, obnoxious energy out of me, and in a semi, acceptable way. I can't just go around the streets screaming at people normally, but if I have a drum on, they seem to be okay with it.
Our stage show involves a lot of what I guess could be described as found percussion. Not necessarily your classic instruments, but things like buckets and pails and a couple drums, but trash cans and trash can lids, things that make fun sounds that we can make good music on. The strolling act is a little more traditional with a really cool modern twist.
Take the stage show, where not everybody's going to be able to make the stage show at the fair. They're enjoying the rides and they're enjoying everything else that the fair offers, but when you take the show to them, it kind of catches them off guard when they see a group of people in interesting costume, showing up, playing along to exciting music, and it really gives them an experience they weren't expecting.
There's a lot of great entertainment out here at the state fair, but I bet you'd be hard-pressed to find a group that looks like they're having more fun at their job.
The biggest thing is that it's just an absolute blast. It's a lot of fun getting to play some really cool arrangements of really cool music. I like seeing people have a good time. I like putting my energy out into crowds and seeing it reciprocated back. It's the kind of thing that I always wanted to do ever since I was a little kid.
This is what I've wanted to do my entire life. I've wanted to play music professionally, and now I'm doing it. It's really just me following my dreams doing this.
Nebraska State Fair!
Brian Gnuse, NTV's Good Life, Grand Island.
Boom Percussion usually travels mostly around the southwest part of the United States, but says they do all sorts of different events. They love the state fairs and county fairs. They said it's one of their favorite places to perform their very unusual job. So.
Yeah, and a dream job for all of them.
Yeah, very, very fun.
Yeah.
If you're interested in learning more about them, go to Facebook, look up Boom Percussion, and this is one of their smaller groups. They have much bigger groups of drummers and all sorts of different things, Scottish kilts, the whole bit.
Fun.
So they have a varied variety of things that they do. So.
Well, maybe we'll be fortunate enough to see them back this year. You never know when if they're gonna come back or not. But they were a crowd favorite. So
yes, it was
one
a
of
lot
our
of fun.
favorites.
So, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and we got another one of Brian's favorites when we come back, so stay with us. Thanks for coming back.
And we're back. We're taking a look back at some of the stories that Brian has shared with us over the last several months. And this next one is kind of unique and it incorporates a hobby, turned into a business. What is going on?
Well, these the dad and his son and a little bit more of their family decided we're going to make some whiskey. And so they dug in and they knew it was a viable business, but then it just kept going on from there to where now this is their job for full time for a large part of the family. So we headed to the tiny town of Moorfield, Nebraska, and I found some very unique jobs done in a very unique location.
Moorfield, Nebraska, population 52. They have a water tower, a seed dealer, and an old two-room school where they make whiskey.
The way we got started was Dad retired, and then Mom retired, and they actually visited breweries and distilleries all over. And Dad saw one in Branson, and he says it was a really cool deal. It was just a father and son operation. I thought, well, how cool would it be if we did it?
So they did do it. The two had a big advantage, though, getting started. They had a great uncle who made whiskey back in Prohibition days up on the Niobrara River. He wrote down his recipes and his general process for making it.
And that's how we come up with our recipe for our corn liquor, was pretty much his old recipe with what we could get our hands on in today's market. And we think that we've come pretty close to duplicating his old corn whiskey, and that's the base for everything that we make.
Coming up with the exact formula, though, that they could replicate every time was a job left to Todd and his master's degree in engineering.
I had a general idea how it was made, and then it was just a matter of understanding the process further than just this is fun. Like, I truly wanted to understand how sugar became alcohol.
It's been 40 years since this building has been used for learning, but since they moved in, they've learned how to make great whiskey. They're still learning how to keep up with demand, though.
We've just came a long ways, way further than we thought we'd be. We had an accountant that helped us, and we came up with a 5-year plan where we needed to be to make it work and not lose money. And we were there at the end of our first year.
We kind of got into these flavored whiskeys, and it became our niche, and then it started getting really popular. We were worried we were just going to be a novelty. It's made in Moorfield, got to have a bottle. Well, then it became something that, I want another bottle, and I want another bottle. So, it grew kind of organically.
Thanks in part to 2 different distributors, after just 3 years in business, their whiskey is now being sold in 50-plus Nebraska cities at more than 200 locations.
My son's full-time now. My grandson's full-time. One of our family friends, his son is full-time here, and then we got 2 part-time gals that help us. So yeah, it's almost unbelievable, but I think we're both extremely proud of it.
We've never taken out a loan. We've never bankrolled anything. We've always paid cash, and to date we're debt-free, and I get to make whiskey with my old man every day, so it's not a bad gig.
Brian Gnuse, NTV's Good Life, Moorfield.
If you're interested in knowing where to buy the whiskey, then head to lazyrDistillery.com to see the long list of locations It's quite the family business, as we mentioned, but if they keep growing, they may need to locate more family members to help out. So.
Obviously, yes. And you have one of them here. This is the lemon
the
one.
lemon. The lemon's the only one I've tried, and a little bit goes a long way, but it is very good. But you can't drink it like a margarita or just like a lemon Kool-Aid or something. You gotta sip it. So it's very good.
So they have 3 flavors, you said.
The cinnamon, the strawberry lemon, and the lemon. So and you'll find it all over the places, and not just in the hard liquor area. I've seen it in wine stores and all things like that, because it looks like a beautiful bottle of wine.
Yeah,
it
does.
So,
that's what I said when you came. I go, gosh, you could mistake that for a bottle of wine and just have that with your your fish or your steak, but. Ooh, no, I guess not.
Well, you could. You
could.
You just got to sip. So.
Yeah, that is a great story. And look, the 3 generations. So. Good for them.
Yeah, very exciting, and it's just amazing the growth that they've had in the short period of time that they've been around. And who knows what the future will bring? And maybe they'll have to have 2 schools or a bigger location.
And
or whatever.
Montfield,
they've got
population
plans.
52.
Yeah.
It's a great little town. I mean, you kind of buzz through it, but it's right there. You can see it as your way going to Curtis or from Curtis. So.
You bet. Neat deal, neat family.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
And we'll be right back. Stay with us. Movie time, welcome back.
All right, we're very happy to have John Erickson joining us from Kearney Cinema 8. Hard to believe Christmas, there were so many movies, but there's only one being released at Kearney Cinema 8 this weekend. What are we looking at here?
We're looking at a movie called Escape Room. It's rated PG-13. It's very intense, very from the get-go, a dude falls in the room and he's trying to escape a room, and it's it gets your heart beating right away. It's what this movie's about is there's a list of 4 people that have survived impossible odds, and they're trying to see who's the luckiest among the lucky, in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so
nice.
he sends this weird little mystery box, a little note slips out, and is if you escape my escape room, you get $10,000.
Okay, should we take a look at a clip?
So that is Zoe in the movie, and it's played by Taylor Russell.
Okay.
Should we take a listen? Let's take a listen.
But life isn't a science experiment. You can't contain your world forever. Try doing one thing that scares you over break, okay?
Yeah. This serves as an entry voucher
for Minos escape rooms.
Be the first to escape our most immersive room yet.
And win $1 million.
So, when does the game start?
I think this is the escape room. We should look for clues.
What are we looking for here?
Anything that looks like a puzzle or a code. It looks like an oven dial. That looks real.
It's kind of warming up in here.
Excuse me, we'd like our hit now, please.
Well, that's creepy as hell.
Is it getting hotter?
How do we get out of here?
It's Fahrenheit 451. Got it!
Okay.
Looks scary from the get-go, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is very intense. So
Yeah.
get your popcorn and get it early.
Yeah,
Very nice.
that's
So
gonna
this
be
is PG-13.
PG-13.
So what else is playing up there at the 8?
We also have Aquaman, The Mule, which are the 2 most popular right now, Mary Poppins, Spider-Man, and Bumblebee.
Very nice. I want to see all those. I did see The Mule at Kearney Cinema 8 over the Christmas break, and it's a very, very unique movie. I thought it was kind of slow for the first 5 minutes, but then it sucked you in. It was a very, very good movie. Of course, it's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, who wouldn't like the movie?
Exactly.
Yeah. Very nice. All right, John, thank you for being with us. We
Thanks for
appreciate
having me,
it.
guys.
you.
Bet. Go see a movie this weekend. All right, we're coming back with more of the best of Brian right after this.
Okay, well, we are back with Brian, and we're talking about some of his stories that he's done this past year, some of the highlights of some of the stories that we've all kind of enjoyed. And one of them was about being a cowboy and being the, doing the job of a cowboy.
And I'm jealous that I didn't get to go on this, because
Yeah.
if you've ever been on one of these drives, it's very therapeutic.
Yeah, it looks really fun.
Yes, well, I had the opportunity to hang out with some cowboys near Ord for a day, and so I took advantage of it. The day I joined them, they were moving about 100 head of cattle. So for this edition of All a Day's Work, we see what it's like to do much of your job while on horseback.
Just like he has thousands of times before, Tom Frazier mounts his horse to get to work.
I graduated from the University of Nebraska in 1974, and I came home to ranch with my parents and start cow herd, and was breaking horses, and this was just a good fit.
On this day, he and some friends were moving his personal herd of cattle from a fall pasture to a bean field about 3 miles away.
I'll go up and just come on behind them, Randy. I'll turn them out.
We work together to get cattle moved, and that's what we spend most of our time doing, is going around and people that can't get cattle moved or need help moving, getting cattle caught.
Literally cowboy for hire. Most of the time they call it day working. I guess in the old days they worked by the day.
Herding cattle from point A to point B doesn't come without its challenges, but with 45 years of doing this, there's probably not much that Tom hasn't seen.
Last week we gathered yearlings one day, and one day we gathered weaning calves that got away.
Both of these cowboys agreed that the best way to do this job is on horseback.
The four-wheelers are used a lot nowadays, but when they get to a certain point and they can't get to with a four-wheeler, they call us in.
Everybody has a different idea on it. I like the way where I can put a horse around cattle, the way I can set up things. You can get a lot done with an ATV. People do, but it's just not for me. You gotta know which way they're going before they go, and most of the time a horse knows more than you do, so you just kind of let them work.
Down here we got Mother Nature with us, and we got the good Lord working for us on top, and so we're right in the midst of it. That's why I keep doing it, because we're out here in the open. You get to see the beauty of nature, and you can just feel the presence all the time.
As for when each of these cowboys will stop riding, they had similar answers here too.
Until they put me underground. That's the only thing I can say.
I just probably will ride as long as I can.
Brian Gnuse, NTV's Good Life, near Ord.
Wow, beautiful story, beautiful country out there, right?
Yes. Oh,
my
boy, it was just, and it was the
goodness.
perfect day too. We really
Yeah.
lucked out there. The snow hadn't hit yet, and so this was before that, and the weather was perfect. So, I mean, obviously it's not always that case, and had it not been great weather, they still would have been working.
Yeah,
but it was
absolutely.
nice for the non-cowboy
Being
to
you.
tail along and have a nice day too. You know,
Yeah.
because I was stationed cameras in different locations to try to get different views, and because I knew which way they were going, but
Right.
it was just a matter of making sure that we could get all the shots and then get from place to place and get around the cows at one point. So
yeah.
they're like, "Come on, Brian, we'll let you around to get
It
more
looks like
shots."
the cattle were cooperating quite nicely.
Yes, and they say these days the cattle are way more quiet, and that's the way they love it. Nice and slow and smooth
Mosey,
and no
is that what-
hurry. So
And you said it took about 2 hours for them to move it from one field to
I
the
would
next?
say by the time they gathered them in the one field and then got them into the other field, it was probably 2 hours by the time
Wow,
they got them.
that's
but
really neat.
yeah,
I need to do that someday. What did we call that? A cattle drive. What was I calling it yesterday? A cattle ride?
You were calling it many things.
I think it was
Carol.
cattle shoeing is what I heard
Yeah,
across the
there was a
newsroom.
shoe. Yeah.
Yeah, spoke
Shoo
like
them
a
along.
city
so.
girl.
That's
so-
what was happening. It was
yeah,
legit.
exactly.
Very
Great
nice.
story.
Well, thank
Good.
you,
Thanks
Brian.
for sharing.
Thank
some of the
you.
look back
It's
with
nice
us, Brian.
to hit some of these
Yeah.
of my favorites again. So.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.